T black jewelry. I know I stand out, I don't need a trifle. Jack the limelight if you don't think ahead quick. I tell them catch me if you can, I'm some gingerbread. Oh, I never ride solo. It's me and my chick looking like slow-mo.
Yo, guys, what's going on? It's Vince down here in Tampa. I got Sidney O'Sullivan on. She's an up-and-coming singer. If you haven't heard about her, she's got it on her Instagram. There's a lot of places locally she's playing, but she needs to go global, guys. So you know what? You're going to have to put your hands together out to get her going and just make sure she becomes a Grammy star. So I can say I had another Grammy star on my show. Sidney, how are you doing?
I'm great. Thank you for the intro. That's pretty big.
Hey, we try to keep it 100 right here. We, do embrace the fire to keep it rolling. So you're an up and coming artist, and my brother's one, but I want to talk about you. And I've seen his grind of sleeping on the sofa. And complaining about, man, are you ever gonna make it? Then I have to shut up after he got with Maverick City. But you're going through that. You're going through that process right now. So, what made you fall in love with music?
Oh, it was instilled in me from a young age. My mom's side of the family, my grandfather, he was in a Motown band up until the day that he passed away. So he gave me my first guitar when I was 15. And then it was truly my dad's side of the family and my dad himself. So he was a self-taught guitarist. And when I was younger, that's what I grew up hearing in the evening when he got home from his sales job. Tired as all get out, he would want to play with his kids still, and so he'd sit down on his recliner with that beaten up Yamaha guitar that he had, and I took to it. I loved it. So Dad really instilled it in me, I would say.
So yeah, a little bit of bonding there. You got a little bit of bonding. So what shapes your sound? Because I've listened to a little bit of your stuff on Instagram.
Yeah.
So what are some of the things that shape your sound?
Yeah, I really took to country music from a young age, and I was really inspired by Carrie Underwood mostly. So I watched her win American Idol when I was a youngin', and I really took to what she does. And then I grew up listening to a wide variety of music. So it was just loving different sounds and kind of finding what my voice fit that kind of fit my sound. I feel like I have a little bit of like depth to me. I definitely like to gear towards the countryside, acoustic more, but I know that I have a little bit of a powerhouse inside of me. So I like to pick songs that'll showcase that often. So it's been fun just being in that realm. Yeah.
Oh, so did you sing in high school or choir? Did you go through the whole, as I call it, the pillars of music? Like you started at the church.
Yes, you've got it. You've nailed it. You absolutely know. I think I started singing in the 5th grade, but I didn't quite know that I was good at it until 6th grade. I had the elective classes in middle school and you're trying to pick which class you're going to take. And the choir director there was like, "You're in choir, girl. Like you've got to sing." And she gave me my first ever solo. And my parents were like, "Oh, she's got a voice to her." And it took, and then smooth sailing from there all through middle school, high school, college. I did like charity events in college and raised money for Singing for Shriners was the event at Shriners Hospital. So I was able to do a lot of things in the community. I sang for our Relay for Life events for about 7 years. I would sing at that, community event and the national anthem for a lot of different, again, community areas. So I just, I took what I could get, and I loved being a performer. So that has always stuck. Yeah.
Yeah, I met a couple years ago. I met the female. She was on. We were trying to get her on the podcast. It was a really busy time at the COVID. The one that sung she sung national anthem in like every stadium or something. So she was a really good person to meet. So what do you think is one of the biggest characteristics you have between stage or studio? So how are you like on your stage performances? Are you more of the people that you get in with the crowd and and feed the beast?
Yeah, I like to feel my crowd and I really take to them. So I I pride myself on being a bubbly, outgoing person. So I think that helps when I'm out on a stage. I just kind of show my true personality. I like to feel the crowd a little bit. So I'm one of those live performers that, will kind of take to whatever venue I'm at. But I think
Right.
what stands me apart a little bit would be I emotionally connect to a lot of the music that I sing, and I try to put myself in the song as much as possible. And then I'll kind of feel the audience vibe as I make a set list and adjust as I go. So it's not always just a set run through. It's how is my audience responding? Can I get audience interaction? Can we do this together kind of thing? And it makes for fun shows. You meet lots of cool people that way. So I enjoy it.
Well, I'm glad you had time to come on today because, hey, guys, I wanted to get a quick shout out. It's Memorial Day. And I know she probably was singing somewhere earlier today.
Yeah.
And I was glad you were able to come on the show and come on. So why don't you hit us with one of your songs? And I know you got some songs you've written, and I know you got some songs that you sang cover. So whatever you feel comfortable with.
Yeah, so I'll come out with an original song first. I just, really started dabbling in the songwriting most recently, but I've been writing since I was 12 years old. I mean, I had a book of poetry at 12 and I took to the writing. But more recently I had just the privilege of being able to share my original song. So
well, I need to introduce you to Thomas Kavanaugh and Alex Miller before we get at it here today. So to make sure that you talk to those two big artists, because they're always looking for people to co-write with or
love that.
All right,
yeah,
so let me hear.
Love that. All
right, what's the backstory on the song?
Well, I'm a lover girl at heart. I love, and this one is called I Met a Boy. And so, you go through life and all you're trying to find is that connection with somebody. So this one definitely has a little bit of vulnerability, but I also have a little boy myself. And when I was writing this song, I thought about all of the characteristics that I would want for him to have when it was time for him to fall in love, which I can't even think about because he's way too little. But this one definitely is all encompassing of a couple of experiences. So
awesome.
It's called I Met a Boy. I met a boy. He's soft and secure. He stands on firm foundation as he leads. I met a boy. He's gentle with his words, little shy when they roll off of his tongue. When he looks me in the eye, look it would not lie. Promises they hold and they don't lie. I met a boy. I never need everybody leave alone. You're crying. Now I can close my eyes. I'll never die. I can let go of my fears, let him dry up all my tears. Be confident he's gonna treat me right. I'm finally grateful. I met a boy. I met this boy, steady and silly, strong through the way that he carries. I met this boy, careful but sure, telling them the life that he wants to. It doesn't come as a surprise the way he sacrificed his life, putting others well before his own. I met this boy. I know he'll never hurt me, never gonna leave me lonely or crying. Now I can close my I know you'll hold me tight. I can let go of my fears, let him dry up all my tears. Be confident he's gonna treat me right. Oh, I'm grateful I met this boy. Just don't fall. I can let go of my fears, let it dry up all my tears. Be confident he's gonna treat me right. Oh, I'm grateful. I'm really thankful I met this boy.
That's right. That's right. An exclusive from
Thank
Sidney
you.
O'Sullivan. All right, here I keep it rolling. Hey,
Thank
Sydney,
you.
so what do you want people? What do you want your fans to take away from your inspiration and your music? What do you want people to take away when you get done singing at the end of the evening? That's that vibe you want the fans to have that moment?
You know, I feel like I have the privilege a lot of times to talk to people after my shows, and I absolutely love those interactions. And something that I really hope that people see and feel is just the absolute joy that music brings. I am a big emotional connector. I love to connect through music. I am a big believer that music is that universal language.
Right.
So I want that big takeaway at the end of the day. I want people to feel connected to that language, because oftentimes I feel that it speaks the emotions that sometimes we can't even say. So I love for people to feel what I'm feeling when I get up there. So I hope that big takeaway is kind of grasped when I'm said and done up there. Yeah,
that makes sense. So I mean, your art, so your artist evolution, right? So let's talk about your style of growth. So you said you started singing when you were younger. What do you think the biggest process in this everything of your evolution and where you're at right now? Because you're going to continue to grow along as you stay in the industry. It's just the nature of the beast. So what do you think, as you sit as your person you are today, what have you learned from this business?
You know, I think that I've learned that it has a lot to give alongside you have a lot of competition. So you have to find your way to stand out and make yourself unique. And so you can't be shy. You know, there are pieces to this that I feel I need to grow and develop just like anybody else in the beginning, you know, of these times. Social media being a huge way to do so. And just not being afraid to put yourself in these situations. I mean, it's like the networking of it all, but you've got to let your true personality shine in it, or you know, you're going to be washed under the sea of other performers and songwriters out there. So I think that was the big growth moment from me when I transitioned into like actually pursuing the live music and kind of getting into this, you know, career itself. You've got to put yourself all in, you know, and it can be scary. It's a dive, you know. So that would be my takeaway from it, at least for now. And like you said, I'm gonna keep growing and changing and developing through it. So yeah.
So as you so you're just talking about social media, which it's great because I look at so many artists now that have gotten famous off writing their own stuff and putting it on TikTok or Instagram or YouTube. So where are you at in that process of like, you just a song you went over, you know, you get you a good mic and you sit down and you just, you know, because I have a friend named Thomas Cavanaugh and he got really big off of social media, just singing on social media, and then people just started listening to him sing. He was doing covers at first, and then the next thing I know, started writing, you know, he started putting out his own stuff.
Yeah, that's a great question. I feel like that's where I started, was definitely the covers, and a lot of my live music ends up tailoring to that. But as far as my original music, My goal for myself was to get like a mini album done by the end of the summer last year. And so I had that opportunity of songwriting and sitting down and really devoting myself to creating these songs. And so now it's finding the platform to get it out there. And now that I've kind of developed myself a little bit more, I feel that confidence to start releasing the music out on like YouTube and TikTok and things like that. So
Right.
that's my next steps, is to get the original music out there, because right now it's a lot of covers. So you kind of have to get through your own like imposter syndrome. Like, can you believe that you're about to do that? You know? And so that would be my next steps. I started to perform my original music live now. So kind of getting an audience feel what we like, you know. So I'm seeing
Right.
it in real time, and now I just have to put it out there. So those are my next steps, is getting it up
Yeah.
on the platforms.
So what do you think so many people struggle? So I went through that process of, I was writing my book and I was like, they don't have enough
Oh,
pages. This finally I just said, the hell
yeah.
with it. I just went ahead and released the
Yeah.
book and put it
Good
out
for
there.
you.
You
Yeah.
know, and I got to the point where I learned that it's never going to be good enough. So
Right.
enough, I mean, good is enough. And so I
Yeah.
think it's sometimes with artists, and me and my brother had this conversation years ago, that he
Mhm.
was looking for his niche, or looking for his distinction, right? And
Yeah.
so when he finally figured it out and got with Maverick City, you know, he hit it big, but he had went through like multiple churches, the Reading Church, Hillsong.
Yeah.
He had just went with
Wow.
different groups, yeah, and then finally found it. So as you look down, you were just talking about the people, the artists that you kind of like. What do you think your distinctive sound? Because what I'm finding out is
Mhm.
artists find a niche, and some never find it, and some do find it. Because look, I tried out for the choir in the 6th grade. and, and the choir instructor was like, "Whew, well, we won't ever have to worry about you singing. I hope you play sports."
They told you how it was, right? They were
I was,
honest.
hey, she had to be honest. I couldn't sing a lick, girl. I couldn't
Oh
hold a
my
note to save my
God. Isn't
life.
that funny?
So when you
Yeah.
step back and look at your distinction, where do you kind of see yourself nestled within the in the genre of music? Because there's so much
Great
out there.
question. Yeah, there really is. And I think what's really cool right now that I'm seeing happening in like our modern music time is that people are kind of like positioning themselves between genres a little bit. Like right now, we've got a new artist out there, Avery Anna, who's like country rock. And she's
Right,
doing a little bit more, you know, in category. And I'm really loving the way that that's developing, because I sometimes feel like putting yourself in a box is a difficult place to be. I find that I cater more towards like the country style of things, and when I write, my music comes out that way. And I think
right,
that's just the nature and the nurture of country music itself. It has a lot of like that sweet feel, you know?
yeah,
And I think that fits my personality. And I think that's kind of where I distinguish myself, is like, where do I feel my most self when I'm singing these styles and these genres? And so I
right,
feel a lot of times that I'm leaning in toward that. But I think, you know, that's where artists get lost, is they don't pick a genre. So then they're all over the place and they can't find themselves in there. So it's a discovery. It's a discovery along the way, kind of like your brother had to go and find, okay,
yeah.
who do I belong to? Where do I belong in this industry? So it's a journey, and I'm excited to discover that as I start to release and see what sticks. It's that, you know, kind of like with you writing the book, you're like, all right, to hell with it. I'm putting it out and we're gonna see. And I
And
gotta get to that point. It's like, all right, well, it's never gonna be perfect. Who likes it? You know, let's see where we
right,
can go.
right, and I think, that evolution for any human being is possible, but, I'm gonna be
Mm,
brutally honest with you. You
yeah,
are probably in the 1% or 5% of people that are
yeah,
are stepping out, because most
mm,
people will never leap. So I know a lot of
yeah,
people that had great voices when I was growing up, great voices all
yeah,
the time, but they never got past the church pew or the
yeah.
choir, or
For the choir.
because they were fear. Because I'm gonna tell you, being an artist, you cannot have fear.
No, not at all. And I'll tell you what, a little story that goes along with this. You know, music has been a part of my life since I was a little girl, and I always felt like I was defined very heavily within music, and I took to it. I just took to
Right.
it. Like I said, I feel like a lot of my emotions kind of resonate through song. And you know, I've for a 28-year-old girl, I've had some life experience already, right?
If you have
And
a child,
so
you have some life experience.
I do. I've got some life experience, and it has shaped me. And along the way, I had recognized that I lost the music side of me. I wasn't picking up my
Oh,
guitar. I wasn't singing maybe in the shower or the car, like any other
yeah,
person. When I, redeveloped that self-worth and who I was and, rediscovered that person with tweaks along the way,
right,
I realized a big part of me that was missing was the music. And like losing that part of me helped me to realize that mm, this is not just this is not just something I do in the car. I
right,
I feel called for a bigger purpose here. I feel that I can spread joy and devote myself to it. So it took a little discovery and it took losing a little bit of yourself to find that. But now it's like I just don't have the fear because I already recognized what I had when I didn't have it. So there's
right.
just no fear anymore. I get a little, like I said, imposter syndrome sometimes. I'm like, is this really me? Am I really doing this? But at the end of the day, I remember who I was when I didn't have it. And I like it
Right.
so much better who I am now with it.
Good, because I don't
So,
think it's important that your physical health is so important.
you know what? I started the physical health more for mind. It was mental. With that moment in my life, I shared that little story of the moment I kind of lost who I was.
Right.
The gym builds a lot of my mental strength. And I thought, okay, I might be low right now, but I'm going to be the strongest low woman that I have ever met. And I'm going to build myself back up. And so lifting like that and going to the gym, I feel like definitely creates that healthy mind and body and spirit. And, it just becomes a part of your lifestyle and it's a healthy part. So I just like to keep myself pristine,
Right.
and I enjoy it. I mean, I enjoy being there. So, which you can tell, I see you in the mornings. Say a
Hey,
little
hey,
hello.
hey, gotta maintain. Hey guys, so the funny thing about it, one day said was she was doing push-ups and she was kind of put like 45 pounds on her back, and I was overdoing
Yeah.
abs, and I was like, well, she's never gonna get the 45-pound plate on her back.
Right.
Trying to
And that's
get it,
my
so I had to go.
ex.
So between my reps, I go over and sit the weight on her back and just watch her knock
Yeah,
them out.
thank
But it's how we work in the 5 o'clock a.m. group in the morning. Everybody just helps everybody get through the workout. So it's pretty cool. So, Sid, you say you're managing, you teach, you
I
have a
do.
child, you
I
manage.
do.
There's a lot of stress, and then on the weekends, you're playing gigs, which I kind of
Yeah.
shown. How do you kind of
Mhm.
balance all that out as a mom? And I'd say this all the time because I watch my mom balance getting her
Yeah.
degrees, work, and and then
Mhm.
keeping the three of us, me and my sisters, out of trouble.
Well, your
Uh,
mama's a superhero, that's
yeah,
for
she
sure,
was.
doing
She
it
still is.
all.
Yeah. So
Yeah.
how did you balance that? Really?
Yeah, that's a great question. Building habits and routines and being really
Okay.
intentional about how you keep your time. So it also really helps that the things that I'm doing, I'm loving. I might be
Right.
exhausted at the end of the day, but first of all, my son is my world. So being able to raise him, he loves music. So he's been exposed to all of my music, and he'll stand there and sing them with me. So if I'm practicing for a gig in the living room, he's right there with me. Some of my local gigs that are a little smaller or more intimate, he's there.
Oh,
So
got it.
that's
Yeah.
that's a blessing being able to do that. Teaching, you know, is a passion of mine. So to be able to call that, my career for right now, I still feel very, pulled and called to doing what I do. So it might be an exhaustion at the end of the day again, but picking up my guitar and practicing music and writing is an outlet.
Right.
So I feel like whether or not I'm juggling, my time management or, juggling all of these different extracurriculars or just the way of life,
Right.
I'm doing what I love. And so at the end of the day, I'm going to bed happy, whether I'm exhausted or not. So
Right.
I just feel very blessed in that way that the things that I'm doing don't quite feel like work. So I think that's a blessing,
I
truly.
mean, right. So everybody can't follow their passion. So what
Right.
university did you go to?
The University of South Florida, USA.
Okay, all right, you're a bull. All right, as long as you just
I'm
say
a bull.
Gators. Always.
Yes.
Hey, I want you to keep pressing, keep going after it. Do not chase that dream. I mean, hey, you know, you like you just said, you're 28. And I'm in my 60s, man, and I'm going to tell you, I've looked back at so many people that have given up on their dreams. Never, ever, ever give up on your dreams. And it's you're always one step away from hitting it big. So if you have any advice out there to the young people out there, that or anybody that listens to this down the road and they're pursuing music or their craft, what advice would you give them?
Stay true to who you are and listen to that inner voice that's telling you to go for it. And just don't doubt it. Just go and leap. What's the worst that can happen, right? So
Right.
I think that's kind of one of the biggest takeaways for you and I too. Writing your book, playing my music, just go for it. There is no harm in spreading joy, and that's what you're doing. So keep after it.
That's right. You heard that first here from Sidney O'Sullivan. I know she catches hell during St. Patrick's Day every year.
Yes, absolutely.
Hey guys, I appreciate everybody tuning in to Keep It Rolling. This is a great podcast that I run. I want everybody to like, share, and have fun. And by the way, never forget the fallen. Today's Memorial Day. And for those that paid the ultimate sacrifice, it's the reason I'm able to have this podcast and Sid's able to sing and we're able to do what we want to do. But also just remember Grayson's Clothing. Check them out. They give discounts for teachers, first responders, and military. So take advantage of the discounts when they have them at Grayson's Clothing. And with that being said, I appreciate you coming on. Thank you so much. And I want you to have a great evening.
You too. Thank you so much for having me. I loved it.
Too easy.
Bye.